You pour that golden stream over your salad, believing you are protecting your heart. But what if that bottle is lying? Lab tests reveal 80% of olive oils in America are fake, rancid, or cut with cheap seed oils. For seniors on heart meds, the wrong oil makes everything worse. 11 brands to avoid and 2 that deliver. Coming in at number 11, we have Filippo Berio. Filippo Berio sits on nearly every supermarket shelf in America. The green bottle promises authentic Italian extra virgin olive oil. Generations of families have drizzled this oil over bread and pasta, trusting the Mediterranean heritage on the label. The branding feels classic and reliable. You reach for it because your mother did. Because the Italian flag creates an instant sense of tradition and quality. But the promise crumbles under laboratory scrutiny. Independent testing at the University of California, Davis found that Filippo Berio failed to meet international standards for extra virgin olive oil in a significant percentage of samples. The oil that commands premium shelf space may actually be cut with cheaper refined oils, soybean, sunflower, or even hazelnut oil that never appeared anywhere on the ingredient list. You are paying premium prices for what amounts to industrial blending. For seniors, this is not simply about flavor or being cheated at the checkout. Refined oils carry higher levels of oxidized fats. When you consume rancid or adulterated oil thinking it is fresh, extra virgin, you are introducing inflammatory compounds directly into your bloodstream. Chronic inflammation drives elevated blood pressure. It stiffens your arteries over time. It increases your risk of heart attacks and strokes. Picture yourself in your kitchen tomorrow morning. You reach for that familiar green bottle sitting in your cabinet. You drizzle it over your eggs or your morning toast. The oil smells faintly stale, maybe slightly musty, but you assume that is just how olive oil smells. It is not. Fresh extra virgin should smell peppery and grassy, almost like herbs just cut from the garden. That flat, greasy odor is the scent of oxidation, the smell of oil already damaging your cells before you even swallow it. In 2015, Italian authorities seized thousands of tons of mislabeled olive oil from major producers. Brands distributed under the Filippo Berio name were directly implicated. The promised Italian heritage turned out to be a blend from Tunisia, Spain, Greece, and unknown origins, mixed, refined, and bottled to maximize profit margins rather than protect your health. The label said one thing. The bottle contains something entirely different. For seniors watching cholesterol or managing heart conditions, relying on fraudulent oil means you never receive the polyphenols and antioxidants that make real extra virgin olive oil protective. You get empty calories and oxidized fats working against your medication instead of alongside it. The trust you placed in that bottle was never deserved. At number 10, we have Bertolli. Bertolli is one of the most recognized olive oil brands in America. Walk into any grocery store and you will find it prominently displayed. The advertisements show sun-drenched Italian hillsides, ancient olive groves stretching toward distant mountains. The packaging whispers Mediterranean tradition. Seniors who grew up associating Italian cuisine with health and longevity naturally reach for this brand without a second thought. But laboratory analysis paints a much darker picture. UC Davis testing revealed that Bertolli extra virgin olive oil failed to meet purity standards in a majority of samples analyzed. The oil marketed as cold-pressed and unrefined was actually oxidized, adulterated, or completely mislabeled. What the bottle promised and what the bottle contained were two entirely different products. Why should this matter if you are over 50? Because your body processes damaged fats differently than it did decades ago. Oxidized olive oil contains compounds called aldehydes. These are toxic byproducts of fat breakdown. When you consume aldehydes daily, drizzled on your salad or heated in your pan, they accumulate in your tissues. They fuel chronic inflammation throughout your body. For seniors managing heart disease, diabetes, or declining kidney function, chronic inflammation accelerates every single one of those conditions. Your doctor is trying to help you heal. The wrong olive oil is working against that goal. The fraud runs even deeper. Bertolli has faced lawsuits alleging their extra virgin olive oil was blended with Lampanti oil. Lampanti is a grade so low it is technically unfit for human consumption without heavy chemical refining. Lampanti comes from damaged, rotting, or fallen olives that never should have been harvested. Processors strip away the rancid smell and taste using industrial chemicals. Then they mix in small amounts of real extra virgin just to pass basic sensory tests at inspection. You cannot taste the fraud, but your body absorbs every single molecule of damage. Imagine standing at your stove, heating Bertolli in a pan to cook dinner. The oil begins smoking earlier than you expected. That premature smoke point signals low quality and elevated free fatty acid content. The smoke itself contains acrolein, a toxic compound linked to respiratory damage and cellular breakdown over time. Seniors with compromised lung function or those taking blood thinners face significantly amplified vulnerability to these effects. Bertolli promised Mediterranean heritage passed down through generations. What they actually delivered was industrial deception in a beautiful bottle. Most people have no idea how to spot fake olive oil on the shelf, but there is a way to protect yourself. We will reveal the simple home test at the end of this video. Stay with me. Now at number 9, Pompeian. Pompeian markets itself as America's best-selling olive oil brand. The company displays quality seals prominently on every bottle. The pricing feels accessible for budget-conscious shoppers trying to make healthier choices. For seniors attempting to eat healthy without spending their entire grocery budget on specialty foods, Pompeian seems like a sensible middle ground between cheap and premium. But those seals and certifications mask a troubling reality hiding in plain sight. Consumer Reports and independent laboratories have repeatedly flagged Pompeian for troubling inconsistency. Bottles labeled extra virgin, tested as refined or mixed-grade oil when actually analyzed. The polyphenol content, those precious compounds that actually protect your cardiovascular system, measured far below what genuine extra virgin should contain. You are paying for protection you are not actually receiving. Polyphenols are the entire reason doctors recommend olive oil for heart health in the first place. They reduce LDL oxidation that leads to plaque buildup. They lower blood pressure naturally without medication side effects. They calm arterial inflammation that precedes heart attacks and strokes. But when your olive oil has been refined, heated, or adulterated during processing, those polyphenols vanish completely. You consume fat without any of the protection, empty calories that raise your daily intake without helping your heart one bit. There is also a hidden sodium concern that rarely gets discussed. Some Pompeian products, particularly their cooking sprays and flavored oil varieties, contain added sodium and emulsifiers for texture and shelf stability. For seniors managing hypertension with careful dietary control, these hidden sodium sources can completely undermine months of progress. 1 tablespoon here, another tablespoon there. Suddenly, your blood pressure medication is fighting against your cooking oil instead of working together toward your health goals. Genuine extra virgin should feel slightly thick on your tongue when you taste it. It should leave a peppery finish that catches the back of your throat and lingers for a moment. Pompeian, in multiple independent tests, felt thin and greasy on the palate. That texture signals dilution or excessive processing that stripped away everything valuable. The bestseller label earned your trust. The product inside that bottle broke that trust completely. Number 8 brings us to Colavita. Colavita presents itself as a premium Italian import, worthy of professional kitchens. The packaging emphasizes multi-generational family heritage and traditional cold pressing methods. Celebrity chefs endorse the brand publicly. Home cooks willingly pay extra, believing the higher price tag guarantees proportionally higher quality in their purchase. Price does not equal purity. That is the hard truth consumers rarely hear. Testing by the UC Davis Olive Center found that Colavita samples frequently failed to meet the chemical standards required for extra virgin. Classification: the oil showed clear signs of oxidation damage, improper storage before bottling, and potential blending with inferior oil grades that never appeared on the label. The premium price bought you false confidence, not verified quality. Oxidized oil poses a silent threat you cannot see with your eyes. You might not even taste it clearly if the oil has been chemically deodorized to mask the damage, but your cells experience every molecule of oxidative stress. Oxidized fats generate free radicals at the cellular level. Those unstable molecules attack your cell membranes directly. They accelerate aging at the tissue level. They increase cancer risk over time with cumulative exposure. If you take blood thinners like warfarin or similar medications, oxidized oils create additional dangerous complications. They can interfere with vitamin K absorption and produce unpredictable clotting responses that put you at risk. Your doctor calibrated your medication dosage very carefully, assuming you maintain a stable diet. Fraudulent olive oil introduces dietary instability that neither you nor your physician can properly account for in your treatment plan. Colavita's actual supply chain stretches across multiple countries far from Italy. Olives from Spain, Tunisia, and Greece get shipped to facilities in Italy. There they are blended together, bottled efficiently, and stamped proudly with Italian flags for marketing purposes. The fine print on the back admits the international blend. But the front label marketing strongly implies pure Italian origin to casual shoppers. That deep golden color in the bottle looks rich and inviting on the shelf. But uniform golden color actually often signals industrial processing rather than quality. Real extra virgin olive oil ranges naturally from bright green to pale gold, depending on olive variety and harvest timing. Uniform golden color year after year is frequently achieved through careful additive blending. You paid for Italian excellence. You received global compromise. Why do you think the FDA allows brands to sell olive oil with practices that are restricted or banned entirely in Europe? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think is really going on. Moving to number 7, Starfine Foods olive oil. Star olive oil has occupied grocery store shelves for decades at this point. The brand emphasizes everyday value and cooking versatility. For seniors living on fixed incomes who still want to eat healthy, Star appears to offer the healthy fats their doctors recommend, without the budget strain of premium specialty brands. Reasonable prices often carry hidden costs that only show up later. Star has appeared on multiple compiled lists of brands that failed purity testing when actually analyzed. Samples labeled as extra virgin contained refined olive oil, various seed oils, or oils that were well past their prime before they ever reached the bottle. The freshness, date printed on the packaging, means absolutely nothing if the oil was already oxidized before bottling even occurred. A study published in the peer-reviewed Journal of Food Science examined the 5 top-selling imported extra virgin olive oil brands in the United States. The results were alarming. 73% of those samples failed to meet international quality standards for what they claimed to be. Star ranked among the specific brands tested and found wanting. What does testing failure actually mean inside your body over time? Refined oils lack oleocanthal entirely. This specific compound in fresh extra virgin olive oil delivers natural anti-inflammatory effects comparable in potency to ibuprofen. Seniors managing arthritis, chronic joint pain, or systemic inflammation throughout their body depend on dietary interventions to reduce their daily medication burden. Every pill you can avoid helps your liver and kidneys. If your olive oil has been refined during processing, you lose that natural anti-inflammatory support entirely and must rely more heavily on pharmaceutical options. Star oil often carries a flat, almost waxy smell when you first unscrew the cap. Compare that disappointing experience to genuine extra virgin, which should greet your nose with immediate brightness and complexity. You should smell pepper, fresh-cut grass, tomato leaf, green artichoke. If your oil smells like nothing distinctive or like old cooking grease from a fryer, it has already been compromised before you bought it. The simple label design builds initial trust. The product inside breaks that trust completely. Number 6 is Carapelli. Carapelli markets itself as a genuine Tuscan treasure with deep Italian roots. The branding references company origins stretching back to 1893. That kind of heritage authentically appeals to seniors who value tradition and old-world craftsmanship in what they consume. The assumption makes sense on the surface. Older companies operating for over a century should have perfected their product by now and produced superior results. Heritage does not guarantee honesty. Sometimes it just means more years of cutting corners. Carapelli has been caught in multiple olive oil fraud scandals across Europe in recent decades. Italian prosecutors directly investigated the brand for systematic mislabeling, blending extra virgin oil with much cheaper refined grades to increase profits, and deliberately misrepresenting the country of origin on their products. The investigations revealed a clear pattern, prioritizing maximum profit over consumer trust and product purity. Consumer watchdog testing found elevated levels of free fatty acids in Carapelli samples, analyzed under laboratory conditions. High free fatty acid content signals poor quality olives that should have been rejected, improper handling during processing, or excessive age before bottling. When you consume degraded oil daily, your liver works significantly harder to process the damaged fats and remove them from your bloodstream. Seniors with compromised liver function or those taking statin medications for cholesterol experience increased strain on an already burdened organ system. Try this simple test at home right now if you have a bottle. Pour a small amount of Carapelli into a clean glass. Warm it gently in your cupped hands for 30 seconds. Sip it slowly and pay attention. Does it taste bright and peppery with a slight pleasant burn at the back of your throat? Or does it taste flat, greasy, and vaguely unpleasant like old cooking oil? That flat taste reveals the complete absence absence of polyphenols. The very health protective compounds you paid extra money for have vanished entirely during processing. Carapelli promised authentic Tuscan tradition passed through generations. What actually arrived in your kitchen was an industrial shortcut dressed up in nostalgic packaging, designed to manipulate your trust. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposés that could protect your health. At the halfway point, number 5, Whole Foods 365, Everyday Value Olive Oil. Whole Foods built its entire corporate reputation on organic, natural, and health-conscious products. The stores themselves feel cleaner and more trustworthy than typical supermarkets. Seniors who shop at Whole Foods sincerely believe they are paying premium prices specifically for premium quality that protects their health. The 365 Everyday Value line promises genuine Whole Foods standards at more accessible everyday pricing for budget-conscious health seekers. Even premium retailers with excellent reputations can unknowingly sell compromised products. Independent testing has repeatedly shown that store-brand olive oils, including those sold under the Whole Foods private label, do not always meet the chemical standards required for extra virgin classification. The supply chain for private label olive oil often mirrors the exact same supply chain used by budget store brands at Walmart. Same international distributors, same overseas bottling facilities, same fraud vulnerabilities at every step. Different labels on identical bottles. For seniors, the Whole Foods brand name creates a powerful but false sense of security. You assume their rigorous quality control team protects every single product on every single shelf in the store. But olive oil fraud runs so deep and is so thoroughly embedded in global supply chains that even well-intentioned retailers with the best intentions genuinely struggle to verify authenticity of every batch they receive. Consider the storage problem that affects every retail location. Olive oil degrades rapidly when exposed to light and heat over time. Those clear glass bottles sitting attractively on brightly lit Whole Foods shelves may have been there for many months already. Fluorescent lights slowly breaking down. The delicate compounds in the oil day after day after day. By the time you finally carry that bottle home to your kitchen, it may already have passed its peak quality weeks ago. The degradation began long before you ever opened the cap. The clean green and white 365 label projects trustworthiness and natural purity. The oil inside that attractive bottle may have already begun working against your health goals before you even purchased it. Number 4 takes us to Kirkland's signature organic extra virgin olive oil from Costco. Costco's Kirkland signature private label brand carries a strong reputation among value shoppers nationwide. Quality products at warehouse bulk pricing. Seniors who buy in bulk at Costco trust that the company's massive international purchasing power delivers genuinely superior products for significantly less money than competitors charge. Adding the organic certification on top provides yet another reassuring layer of perceived health protection. But organic does not automatically mean authentic or fresh. Kirkland olive oil has faced legitimate questions about actual origin, real freshness at time of bottling, and whether it truly meets the chemical standards required for extra virgin classification. The sheer volume Costco sells creates genuine opportunities for significant batch-to-batch quality inconsistency. One container from one shipment may test as excellent. The very next container from a different shipment may be substandard. For seniors depending on olive oil consistently for documented heart protection benefits, unpredictable inconsistency completely defeats the purpose of buying it. Those massive plastic containers Costco sells present yet another serious concern. Quality olive oil genuinely deserves dark glass storage to protect its delicate compounds against light degradation. Clear plastic jugs allow light penetration that begins accelerating oxidation from the very moment the container arrives at the warehouse floor, under fluorescent lights. By the time you finally reach the bottom of that giant economy-sized jug several weeks later, the oil has degraded very significantly compared to when you first opened it fresh. Research published by the North American Olive Oil Association found that approximately 75% of average consumers cannot reliably distinguish between fresh olive oil and rancid olive oil by taste alone during blind testing. You may be consuming oxidized oil every single day at every single meal without ever realizing there is a problem. Meanwhile, your cardiovascular system silently absorbs the accumulated cellular damage. Kirkland promises exceptional value on everything, But value without independently verified quality is no real value at all. Down to number 3, Great Value Olive Oil from Walmart. Great Value is Walmart's dominant house brand across virtually every product category. The corporate strategy centers on achieving the absolute lowest possible prices on everyday essential items. For seniors living primarily on Social Security income or modest pension payments, Great Value Olive Oil seems like a sensible, practical way to incorporate the healthy fats their doctors recommend without creating unbearable financial strain on fixed budgets. The lowest price very often delivers the lowest actual quality. That trade-off affects your health. Great Value Olive Oil has consistently appeared on published lists of brands, failing independent purity testing when actually analyzed in laboratories. The oil comes sourced from multiple countries simultaneously. It gets blended for basic consistency and then bottled with minimal, meaningful quality oversight. What finally reaches your kitchen may be an unpredictable mixture of old oil and newer oil, refined grades and unrefined remnants, from a dozen different international sources with zero accountability to you. For seniors managing chronic health conditions, this product uncertainty creates genuine danger. Consider the medication interaction implications carefully. If you take ACE inhibitors for blood pressure control, your doctor calculated your specific dosage based on you maintaining predictable dietary fat intake. When your olive oil varies wildly and unpredictably in actual composition from one bottle to the next, your entire fat metabolism becomes unpredictable. Your medication response becomes unpredictable. Your blood pressure control suffers. Great Value bottles occupy shelf space under harsh fluorescent warehouse lighting at every Walmart location. Sometimes those bottles sit there for many months before any customer finally purchases them. The clear plastic packaging offers zero protection whatsoever against ongoing light damage. The oil you buy today may have been bottled an entire year ago, and then sat there degrading slowly ever since, just waiting on that brightly lit shelf for you. The price tag promises immediate savings at checkout. Your long-term health consequences tell an entirely different and more expensive story. What olive oil brand have you trusted and used for years in your kitchen? Have you ever noticed it tasting off or different than before? Share your personal experience in the comments below. Number 2 on our list is Rachael Ray, Everyday Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Rachael Ray built an impressive media empire over decades based on accessible, approachable, everyday cooking that real people can actually accomplish. Her branded olive oil carries that exact same approachable promise to consumers. Good enough for daily cooking use, affordable enough for every ordinary kitchen. Seniors who watched her television shows regularly for years naturally trust her product recommendations without much questioning. Celebrity endorsements and licensing deals do not guarantee actual laboratory standards. Rachael Ray olive oil is produced under legal license by a third-party manufacturing company. The familiar celebrity face on the product label absolutely does not mean she personally oversees quality control at the plant, tests individual production batches, or independently verifies country of origin for the olives used. The brand fundamentally operates as a marketing and licensing business arrangement rather than any kind of quality guarantee. Independent testing has revealed that celebrity-branded olive oil products frequently fall short of the chemical standards required for legitimate extra virgin classification. The oil may be blended with inferior grades, refined to remove defects, or already oxidized before reaching retail store shelves. You would never know any of this because the trusted, familiar face on the attractive label silently assures you everything is perfectly fine. For seniors, this parasocial relationship carries particular emotional danger. You feel like you genuinely know Rachael Ray personally, from years of watching her cook enthusiastically in your living room on television. That powerful familiarity creates a false sense of personal safety and trust. It bypasses the natural skepticism you might appropriately apply to any unfamiliar brand from a company you have never heard of. The bright yellow packaging catches your eye immediately in the store aisle. That cheerful, attractive design cannot override what objective laboratory analysis repeatedly reveals about the product inside. You trusted a familiar face you felt you knew. The familiar face essentially sold you a corporate licensing deal. We are about to reveal the number 1 brand you absolutely must avoid. But more importantly, the 2 brands that actually deliver on their promises are coming immediately after. Do not click away now. And the number 1 olive oil brand you must stop buying immediately is Goya Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Goya stands today as one of the largest Hispanic-owned food companies operating in America. For decades spanning multiple generations, families have trusted Goya products as authentic, high-quality staples representing their cultural heritage. The olive oil carries that exact same legacy of trust, traditional nostalgic branding, competitive accessible pricing, wide availability in grocery stores from coast to coast nationwide. Trust alone cannot survive rigorous laboratory testing. Results matter more than reputation. Goya extra virgin olive oil has repeatedly failed to meet international purity standards in multiple independent laboratory analyses. The oil showed clear chemical signs of adulteration with cheaper oils, oxidation damage from improper handling, and potential blending with lower refined grades that should never appear in extra virgin products. The bold extra virgin claim on the front label did not match the chemical reality actually inside the bottle. For seniors in Hispanic communities across America, this particular betrayal cuts deeply and personally. Goya represents cultural connection across generations. Family cooking, tradition passed from grandparents to parents to children, pride in shared heritage and identity. Discovering that a brand you trusted as authentic has been selling substandard product wounds more than just your physical health. It wounds your sense of identity and cultural trust. The health consequences extend far beyond those hurt feelings into measurable physical damage. Seniors managing type 2 diabetes, a condition particularly prevalent in Hispanic communities nationwide, rely heavily on anti-inflammatory foods to help control blood sugar levels and reduce serious long-term complications. Genuine extra virgin olive oil scientifically supports improved insulin sensitivity. It measurably reduces systemic inflammation throughout the body. Adulterated fraudulent oil provides absolutely none of those documented benefits. Instead, it actively adds oxidized damaged fats that worsen metabolic health outcomes over time. The Goya bottle displays traditional imagery suggesting generations of quality craftsmanship and family pride. But the actual supply chain hidden behind that nostalgic imagery spans the entire globe. Complex international sourcing networks, minimal meaningful oversight at each step, the same fraud vulnerabilities that affect every major mass-market olive oil brand operating today. You thought you were buying authentic tradition. You actually purchased disappointment bottled in false promises. Safe pick number 1. California Olive Ranch. Here finally is olive oil you can actually trust completely. California Olive Ranch produces their entire product line exclusively in California, using only California-grown olives harvested domestically. The complete supply chain from tree to bottle remains within American borders under American oversight. Full transparency at every single stage of production. Every single bottle includes a clearly printed harvest date. You know exactly how fresh your specific oil is before you ever make the purchase decision. Independent laboratory testing consistently confirms that California Olive Ranch meets or exceeds all international extra virgin chemical standards. The polyphenol content is verified through testing. The freshness is guaranteed by harvest dating. The company voluntarily submits to regular third-party audits because they have nothing to hide. For seniors who need genuine documented heart protection from their daily olive oil consumption, California Olive Ranch delivers independently verified results you can trust. The peppery bite when you taste it confirms the protective polyphenols remain biologically active. The fresh grassy aroma confirms proper careful handling throughout processing. This is exactly what real extra virgin olive oil should look like, smell like, and taste like. Safe pick number 2, Cobram Estate. Cobram Estate represents another genuinely trustworthy option for health-conscious seniors. This Australian-owned company operates certified farms in both Australia and California. Strict quality control protocols monitor every single stage of production, from tree cultivation to final table delivery. Cobram Estate olive oils have won prestigious international awards repeatedly for exceptional freshness, impressive flavor complexity, and independently verified chemical purity. The bottles specifically use dark glass designed to protect the delicate compounds against light degradation during shipping and storage. Harvest dates appear clearly printed on every single label, so you always know freshness. Independent laboratories have repeatedly confirmed through rigorous testing that Cobram Estate consistently meets the highest international standards required for genuine extra virgin classification. For seniors genuinely seeking the documented Mediterranean diet benefits that decades of clinical research have validated, Cobram Estate delivers exactly what the label promises every single time. No adulteration with cheaper oils. No deceptive blending to increase profit margins. No false marketing claims. Just real authentic olive oil with real measurable health benefits for your heart and your body. Your kitchen should not harbor lies disguised as health food. The olive oil you trusted for years may have been quietly working against you the entire time, raising inflammation instead of reducing it, undermining your medications instead of supporting their effects, stealing the cardiovascular protection you sincerely thought you were purchasing for yourself and your family. Now you know exactly which 11 brands to leave permanently on the store shelf. And you know the 2 brands that actually protect your heart with verified quality. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.